So it means JCPenney won't be able to pay interest? No. Then it means JCPenney is gone. So you may concur with that analyst who said this might be JCPenney's last year. But wait, yes.
You said for every $1 they pay an interest expense.
They have 36 cents of income to pay that interest expense. So they are able to pay only 35 cents for each $1 that they owe by way of interest expense. Can anyone tell me that this number is not the exact number that you want to look at? It's okay. We'll look at different numbers. That JCPenney could still have, enough resources to pay. Can anyone tell me what those possible resources might be? Because their income is not sufficient to pay interest. Okay? They have to pay $1 in interest and they have only 35 cents of income. So can you tell me some other, resources that the firm might have? Remember, income is not the same thing as cash flow. Remember that? Income is not the same thing as cash flow. Remember that? Okay, so for example, let me, I want you to look at this income statement. Do you see depreciation somewhere up there? Do you see depreciation there, somewhere up there, 570? Do you see 570 here? What is depreciation? Is it a cash expense? No. It's a non-cash expense. So what does it mean? JCPenney has 570 also. In addition to their income, they also have 570. You see what I'm saying here? But for accounting purposes, they are showing it as an expense. It's not a cash expense. So if you add 570 to their income, what do you think? They may have sufficient cash to pay their interest. Okay, so don't go by the income statement. We in finance emphasize cash flow. So that's what I'm warning you that, yeah, this ratio doesn't look very impressive, but then we know what's going on. So let's copy this to here. Okay, and let's copy these two down. All right, so let's compare. Their ratio is significantly worse than the industry average. By how much? This is this, so D11 by 84%. Okay, 84%. And their coverage declined significantly from, I think so this is a negative. So, well, the negative is gonna pose problems here. So, when this coverage is negative, ignore it. Why? Because they have losses. They had losses 3 years ago, so they had zero coverage. Okay, so when you have a negative coverage, it means they are not covering at all. Okay, they are losing money. So what to talk about, being able to pay your interest expense. So that's why it's difficult to interpret this. All right, any questions? Keep saving your work as you work through this. Yes.
Are you going to post this?
I can do that. Okay, I can do that. Okay, the third group. This is the most important group. This is the source of all future problems. Okay. This is where managers mess up to begin with, and then they have to, go back to the drawing board and try to fix, their problems. Asset management or asset efficiency ratios. In essence, we are asking the following question. Hey, shareholders gave Facebook billions of dollars, and shareholders gave JCPenney billions of dollars when the firm went public. Remember when they sold their stock to the public? Are these firms using those billions of dollars, those assets, efficiently or not? Okay. Are you using your assets efficiently or not? So now the question arises, once again, how do we measure management efficiency or asset efficiency? Okay, we measure by different metrics, but one is sales. One is sales. Okay, sales, an important thing. Are we, for example, let's take two firms here, A and B. And it's one of the metrics one of the measures we use, A and B, okay? Firm A is producing $10 in sales, and firm B is producing $20 in sales. If you just look at the sales number, you'll say, hey, firm B is doing a lot better than firm A. But hold on, these are sales numbers. And firm A has only $1 in assets, and firm B has $10 in assets. Okay, so which firm is doing better? Which firm is using its assets, efficiently? A or B? A is, right? Firm A has $1 in assets and it's able to produce $10 in sales. Firm B has $10 in assets and firm B produces $20 in sales. So if you divide this by this, it gives you 10. And if you divide this by this, this gives you 2. So a firm that produces more with less is more efficient. It makes more sense, right? It makes more sense. You're producing more with less. You're more efficient. So this is the logic, okay? A firm has billions of dollars in assets, produce $1,000 in sales, doesn't look like the firm is using those assets efficiently. So the first one that we'll cover is inventory turnover. Is our firm, JCPenney, using its inventory efficiently? Now, look at the following, just listen to the following statement. Would you rather, holding everything else constant, okay, everything else being equal, would you rather have a larger inventory or a smaller inventory? Smaller, right? Because inventory is an investment. You would rather have a smaller inventory than a larger inventory. So this is what the idea is. And why do you need inventory, by the way? To produce sales, right? So for each dollar of investment in inventory, you want your sales to be as high as possible. That's what the idea is. Okay. So when you invest $1 in inventory, are you producing sufficient, sales or not? So inventory turnover, it's cost of goods sold. Goods sold. It's a measure of sales divided by inventory. Okay. So you might say, what's cost of goods sold? It's sales before markup. Okay. So for example, you have sales, and then you have less cost of goods sold, CGS. Okay. This gives you gross profit. Gross profit. Okay, so you take your cost of goods sold, add a markup, 10%, 15%, 30%. On some items, JCPenney might have a markup of 50%. They buy something for $10 and sell it for $15. Okay, it's kind of normal for some of these things. So you have cost of goods sold, not sales, before markup. Why don't we use sales? Sales is much simpler to use because inventory is recorded at cost. So we must have both the numerator and the denominator, recorded at cost. Okay, so markup is taken out. So cost of goods sold is nothing but sales minus markup. Markup means, your profit, the added profit margin. All right, so let's compute this ratio for JCPenney and see how JCPenney compares to the industry. Okay. So here, equal sign, and we'll click on